Man, salute to everybody, man. Shout out to Hollywood Hearn, man. This gonna be the first video I ever done. I didn't do no promotion. I could have done promotion. I could have got people involved, but I didn't. I just wanted to drop this gem and then I'll promote it later. But the focus is, man, Tim Duncan is not a top 10 player of all time. The reason being, there's several reasons why. I think a lot of people overvalue Tim Duncan because of his consistency. But the truth be told, Tim Duncan only had 8 great years. That was from 1997 to 2005. A lot of people don't understand the 2006 season. He was dealing with chronic knee problems and severe knee tendonitis that had to really change his whole career. So, and end of the day with Tim Duncan, after that, Tony Parker became the best player for the San Antonio Spurs for 2007 to 2016. Was the best player on the team. Shadow of a doubt. Tim Duncan's first 8 years of his career, great defender. One of the most premier big men in the game. Came into the league with David Robinson, which was a steal for the Spurs because David Robinson broke his leg a year before. So when they won that championship lockout year, David Robinson was still at the top of his game, and David Robinson and Tim Duncan dominated the league. The league really never dealt with two great 7-footers at one time. So it was easy for Tim Duncan to develop. It was easy for Tim Duncan to get better because he was practicing with one of the best big men of all time in David Robinson, especially in the 90s. When you look at everything, you guys, Tim Duncan wasn't dominating the league anymore after 2005. He wasn't one of the premier dominant players. He couldn't dominate his matchup anymore. He couldn't play guys one-on-one anymore. He was more of a safety valve for defenders, for the Spurs defense. And their best defenders were primarily perimeter defenders, like guys like Bruce Bowen. And after they lost Bruce Bowen, they ended up coming up on a Kawhi Leonard to make that scheme work. Greg Popovich understood that Tim Duncan, if they would have kept playing, letting Tim Duncan play the way he kept playing, his career would not have lasted as long as it did to 2016. His body would not have held up. So Greg Popovich found a way to basically let Tim Duncan play help side defense, be a guy that could protect the paint, make sure Tim Duncan didn't have to hold the legit big man, because you could see it in 2005. Amari Stoudemire was giving them problems. You got guys like, of course, Dirk Nowitzki ended up start giving them problems for 2006 on till Tim Duncan's career ended. Guys like Kevin Garnett kept getting better and basically still kept their prime shape, more than Tim Duncan. Then you had the youngest. You had the Zach Randolphs, the Blake Griffins of the world. And you had other legit Chris Bosh's, the other legit big man that was giving them problems. So the way to use Tim Duncan the best way, let him play help and let him protect the paint. And with Tim Duncan's high IQ that he had, you could play him in that way because he can read offenses. He can still rebound, and he can still contest shots. So that was very smart by Greg Popovich. But it was a time after Bruce Bowen left the Spurs that the Spurs defense was vulnerable. You could break down the defenses they was losing early in the playoffs. First and second round exits, they were losing to even the 8th seeds as the number 1 seed lost to the 8th seed. It wasn't because that the Spurs wasn't a good team. It was because they were missing that elite perimeter defender on the caliber of Bruce Bowen's level to make the scheme that Greg Popovich created with the Spurs to work. Offensively, Tim Duncan wasn't as lethal as he was during his first 8 years. The rise of Manu Ginobili and Tony Parker made it easier for Tim Duncan not to have to worry about producing at a high level. But when you think about the elite players of all time, the Kobe's, the Brons, the Mikes, Shaquille O'Neal to a degree, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Magic Johnson, the Birds of the world, they was the man for their team for a long time. And for the most part, those guys dominated the way they dominated. Tim Duncan, unfortunately, his path for dominance ended pretty early for an elite big man of his stature. We could love Tim Duncan, but his real true position is not power forward. His real true position is a center. And when you look at it in that aspect, where would you guys rank Tim Duncan as a center? And honestly, he is not a top 5 center of all time. And I'm gonna give you 5 centers that's already better than him. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, 1. Wilt Chamberlain, 2. Shaquille O'Neal, 3. Bill Russell, 4. Akeem Olajuwon, 5. So if you got 5 big men right there that is better than Tim Duncan all time, how can you make him a top 10 player? And look at the other 5 names that I can name that would X Tim Duncan at the top 10. And I'm not even going to name the obvious that I should name. Kobe Bryant would be 1. LeBron James is 2. Magic Johnson is 3. Larry Bird is 4. And another guy that I could put in there for sure would be Michael Jeffrey Jordan. Those 5 legit guys that are better than Tim Duncan. So that's 10 players right there is better than Tim Duncan all time. So I just want people to realize when we try to put guys in certain conversations, let's be real about it. Let's be honest about what's really going on. And then you got guys like Stephen Curry. I would most definitely put Stephen Curry over Tim Duncan all time. This is legit. This is for real. This is 100. So obviously Tim Duncan is probably 12th. I got Tim Duncan 12th all time on my list. Because there's other guys, and then you got guys like Jokic and Giannis could overtake Tim Duncan down the line. But then you got some old heads that may feel even like me. They may put the Jerry West, the Oscar Robertsons in the conversation, the Julius Ervings in the conversation. So honestly, Tim Duncan is between 12 and 15 all time. So when I hear the Tim Duncan fans try to highlight that Tim Duncan is a top 5 player of all time, or top 10, I want you guys to realize this. He played more games as center than he did power forward. And when you rank him as a center, he is not a top 5 center of all time. And then when you look at his prime was only 8 years. And when I compare it to a prime of Larry Bird for 8 years, his prime is nowhere near on the level of a Larry Bird. Larry Bird won 3 straight MVPs. First 50, 40, 90 guy. A guy that basically dominated the era. They both dominated the decade. But Larry Bird changed the game. Salute to King Rowe. Man, King Rowe doing one of my first videos after Ram. I ain't do no promotion. I ain't even ask anybody to support the video, which I could have because I got support for all angles. But Tim Duncan is not a top 10 player of all time. He's not. Let's be real. Let's be serious, man. I'm not doing a panel. I'll probably start doing a panel down the line, but right now, just doing quick videos. Shout out to Cheese Duck 445, man. Salute to you, brother. Salute to you, brother, man. Man, y'all hit that like button as y'all come in, man. Y'all just keep hitting the like buttons, man. Show support, man. I appreciate y'all for dropping in, showing a brother love. But I just wanted to touch on Tim Duncan, man, because I feel like he's overvalued. I feel like a lot of people make up a lot of things in his career, don't speak his career in proper context. I mean, like I said, he came into the league in 97. He was dominant all the way up to 2005. And after the 2005 year, he was basically a role player. He was basically a guy that played the role and basically a guy that let the 2 international guys run the team, and Manu and Tony Parker. And there's an argument that Manu Ginobili could have won Finals MVP of 2005. How clutch that he was in that series against Detroit. He was making all the big plays in and all the great shots. But with Tim Duncan, all-time great. Respect the hell out of him. He showed you the epitome of being a professional, showing you how you could be a superstar without having an ego. I admire all that. But when it comes to greatness, when it comes to top 10 greatness, I cannot put Tim Duncan in the conversation because all the players I named, prime lasted longer, and they was dominant longer than Tim Duncan. Dominant. Tim Duncan had an 8-year dominant stretch. That's it. That is it. After 2005, it was over. After you seen, niggas should have known then when he got clamped up by Big Z in 2007 on the average of 18 points, shooting 43% from the field. They should have known then it wasn't Tim Duncan's team anymore. They should have known then Tim Duncan's dominance is over. And even you give him credit defensively, most of the credit should go to Greg Popovich. His scheme that he set up was perfect for the Spurs and perfect for Tim Duncan to extend his career. Hey, King Rowe, I wish I could have been there. Because Hakeem Olajuwon is better than Tim Duncan all time. And it's not even close. Tim Duncan don't cover the ground Hakeem Olajuwon cover defensively. He's not as agile, he's not as mobile as Hakeem Olajuwon. Offensively, hell, we know it's not even close. Hakeem Olajuwon got the best footwork of all time at any center. And I wish I was prepared for that, King Rowe. I would have voted like I voted for CW and Travis last night. But people just got to realize, bro, we can respect great players, but to try to put them on a pedestal and put them on a level, you can't. Why I'm going to put him over Kobe Bryant when Kobe Bryant had so much success against the Spurs and dominated the Spurs throughout the whole 2000s to 2010s? He dominated them. I seen Pau Gasol in 2009 get the best of Tim Duncan. And Tim Duncan's supposed to have been the best power forward in the league or best big man in the league. One of the best, rather. And Pau Gasol dominated Tim Duncan. I seen guys, slow guys like Big Z have success. So, you guys, let's just be real. Let's just be honest. Man, I salute the King Rowe for showing love. I appreciate that truly, bro. I just wanted to drop a quick video explaining why I don't have Tim Duncan top 10. He's not top 10 on my list. He wasn't dominant like Kareem. He wasn't dominant like Wilt. He wasn't dominant defensively like a Bill Russell. He wasn't dominant like a Hakeem Olajuwon. Could lead the team like he did in 1994 to win the title. You put Tim Duncan on that team, they don't get past the first round. They don't. You put Tim Duncan on the 94 Rockets, they don't get past the first round. Hakeem won a chip with them. Hakeem won a chip with that roster. Tim Duncan not winning with that roster. He's not. Let's just be real. Let's just be honest. And I really don't want to give him credit for the lockout, but you got to. But I really don't want to give him credit for the lockout. But the only reason he was considered power forward because he got another great center with him in David Robinson. And the league was not prepared to deal with two great 7-footers at one time. So they hit the league by surprise because we haven't seen the Twin Towers since. But they give him credit for playing power forward, in which, hell, you can argue that both of them played power forward, him and David Robinson. And David Robinson, one of the most athletic bigs of all time. And you guys can't tell me Tim Duncan athletically is like a David Robinson, as mobile as a David Robinson, running the floor like a David Robinson. You guys can't say that. But I can't put Tim Duncan over Curry. I can't put him over Kobe. I can't put him over Magic, or Magic and Bird, say the least, so those two work hand in hand. I can't stand LeBron James, but Tim Duncan is not on the level of LeBron James. We know he's not better than Bill Russell. Bill Russell meant too much for the game, but for us defensively, it's not even close. He's not as dominant as Wilt Chamberlain. Wilt Chamberlain was a physical specimen that we'll never see again. Dominant on both ends, whether it was defense or offense, Wilt was just fucking dominant. Shaquille O'Neal, when he was at his prime and his best in his shape, he ate Tim Duncan for lunch. He did that. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar got the most unstoppable move of all time, was fucking dominant. Eating cats alive. came in the gate whooping ass. Michael Jeffrey Jordan, we know the GOAT. Tim Duncan never dominated on that type of level of Mike. So, guy, I gave you guys 11 legitimate names that is better than Tim Duncan all time. I respect him. He's a winner, an ultimate winner, especially in this modern era. You got to give him their respect. But all those guys are winners too. But all those guys were dominant. But he is top 15 King Row, and there's no shame. But y'all hit that like button as y'all come in. This video is a surprise to everybody because, hey, I didn't want any promotion. I just wanted to hit people in the mouth and surprise them. Y'all hit that like button, man. Salute. I appreciate your King Rows. Appreciate everybody that stops in right now or even stop in afterwards to view the video, man. So appreciate y'all. Salute, and I'm out.